Well, thank you for being here. But I want to thank Sue Embry and the members of the Manzanar Committee that have been working so many years to make this place a historical site. I think anybody that's been on committees know how much time and money that people on these committees have volunteered over these years. But they've done a great job, and thanks to this committee, this place has become a national historical site. And 90% of the people in the United States don't know how we were imprisoned and forced to leave our homes with only 2 weeks' notice. But also I think President Clinton should be commended because recently the bill was passed to buy the land for all the different campsites. But Gila and Poston are the two camps that are not involved in this bill because they're on Indian land. And God knows they've been giving Indians treatment for the last 300-400 years, and they've already stolen enough of their land. But Gila is about 25 to 30 miles outside of Phoenix, Arizona, and there was 6,000 acres in the camp, and they put over 13,000 of us in Camp 1 and 2, which is called Butte and Canal. But they bulldozed 6,000 acres and then put up all the barracks, and 3 months after we were all there, then they told the Indians, we want to rent your land. Well, what are the Indians going to say with 13,000 of us there? And one thing that the farmers that from Santa Maria and Fresno area, they were really good farmers, and they turned around and diverted water into canals, and they started irrigating. And I think Gila campsite became one of the most beautiful farmlands in all the different camps. One of their specialties was daikon, and they had more daikon than they could use, and then they took the seeds and they sent to all 10 camps, so that all the 10 camps, all of these days, really enjoyed all the daikon. And where they built the warehouses for all the fruits and vegetables that they grew, why they call it the Seed Warehouse, and that road going there, they called it Seed Road. To this day, it's still called Seed Road. But when we had our first reunion in 1995, why, when I went there and looked at the campsite, what used to be nothing but desert like this, there's thousands of orange groves there, and there's olive trees. But besides that, the farmers that started cultivating all the land, there was a 300-day growing season on that Arizona desert, and the heat was as high as 120 degrees from probably April up till end of summer. But it was really hot out there. But the farmers were really made that place a desert paradise, and today, thanks to the Japanese farmers, the Indians are very prosperous, and that land is put to good use. But one thing about Gila, with all of the produce and everything that they had chicken farm, they had pig farms, and they had all the kind of vegetables. But 300 days out of the year, they were able to grow different crops and raise enough things. And that's why the government was able to feed all of us in Gila for 33 cents a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when you stop and think, of course, food was a lot cheaper in those days too, but then with all the government surplus food that was already paid for, can you imagine? I mean, I don't think anybody in these days could believe that we were fed on 33 cents a day. But one of my friends worked in the accounting office, and he was looking at these figures, and he knew how much money was spent. But I got to give credit to the farmers over there that today the Gila campsite is really a beautiful place. And one of the funny things about that is right near where I used to live, there's orange trees all around there. But one resident, his name was, I think, Yokoyama, or I'm not sure. But anyway, he brought his dog to camp, and not quite as big as that table. He stole enough cement, and he made a monument to his dog and buried the dog there. And it's not too far, but it's right in the middle of the orange grove. So the Indians thought that a person was buried there. But in kanji, he wrote the story about man's love for the dog and the dog's faithfulness to man. And it's all written in Japanese. Well, I think the Indians thought that a man was buried there, and the way the Indians honor their dead. But anyway, when they cut down the field before they planted the orange groves and everything, and they built up the earthen dike there, why the Indians kept that place sacred ground. But it has on there Inu Yokoyama, but the Indians can't read Japanese. But it's a nice monument, but how people in camp could turn around and get so much lumber and cement to make a monument that high for his dog. It's really something else. But one of the things that happened is after they cleared 6,000 acres and we went back to the campsite, they were going to bulldoze all the cement slabs that were there, and they were going to put all the campsite also as part of their orange groves and everything. Well, 50 years after the government and the Army had bulldozed all that land, the EPA come along and told the Indians, you can't build on this campsite because there's 3 species of endangered plants. And what the government did 50 years before, they're telling the Indians now that they can't do that. But I mean, this is another case of where the poor Indians have really gotten a shaft for all of their lives. But thanks to the Japanese farmers, they really did a good job, and the Gila campsite is quite a difference from what you see here today. But if you went to the Gila campsite, which is about 35 miles outside of Phoenix, Arizona, why, it's really a lush farmland, and thanks to the Japanese farmers, Gila is a beautiful place to see nowadays. But they've also got 2 casinos now, so they're making about $1 million a year. So I don't feel sorry for the Indians anymore. But when we had our first reunion in there, why, we asked for donations to build our monuments and things, and over 700 people donated $65,000, and we were able to build the monuments in Camps 1 and Camp 2. But since we built those monuments, our campsite has been vandalized 17 times. And so this is what I hope doesn't happen to this campsite, because to a lot of people in this country, they still don't know. 90% of the people in the United States don't know how we were declared enemy aliens and put into these campsites. And a lot of people still refuse to believe it. But this, I hope it's going to be well guarded, because I'm sure that there's still a lot of people that would refuse to believe that what happened to us. And we hope that it'll never happen again. But I know last month I got a letter from one of our Phoenix committee members, and somebody took a shotgun, and we have a plaque there that cost us $1,000 to cast anyway. Somebody took a shotgun, aimed it right at the history of the Gila camp, and blasted it, so there's shotgun pellet marks all over that plaque. But there's talk of recasting the 5 plates that we had at $5,000 and then make it for future storage. But no matter how much money we spend on these campsites, this is the one thing that I'm afraid of, and I hope that the National Park Service will really be wary of, because I don't know why, but there's always a bunch of hardheads that still refuse to believe that things happen. But no matter where I've gone back east, 90% of the people in this country still have never heard of how we were uprooted from our homes and the things that happened to us and all the hardships. But okay. Meanwhile, I want to thank the committee and everybody here for being here today, and I think the taiko drummers deserve a round of thanks for volunteering to come up here at this day. Thanks a lot.